This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Monday, January 4th. I'm here with my friends Erica and Tori. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Yes.
How was your New Year? How'd you guys spend it?
I did watch that show. What's the show that you kept
The Undoing?
The Undoing, yes.
Were you undone?
It was
good.
I mean, it took me completely out of my own life, and I was living for everything that was happening. So that was pretty much my New Year's Day.
That's what makes it for a good show. It takes you out of your regular life. How about you, Tori?
I binged my Belgian espionage show, Professor T, if anyone's interested, on PBS. And I also took a little shot with Anderson and Andy. I thought they were really likable. There was no one in Times Square, and they just called it out. And they were like, this is really weird. And I thought their 4 hours was actually really funny.
Speaking of call out and tea, why don't you take that paper cup and put it under the desk?
Okay.
No, so Nothing's changed here
Nope.
in 2021.
Nothing.
Nothing's changed here. Me, I was very excited about Justin Bieber's live performance.
Yes.
So many people logged in at once, and when it was time to log in, I couldn't log in.
So you never saw it?
And
Never
you
saw.
paid?
I paid.
That's the second time you've paid for the
I know.
Biebs, and you haven't been able to
And I
see
sent an email out and haven't got anything back. So in case you want to get blown up on Daily Blast Live. No, I'm not mad.
That's
Listen,
what the blast is for.
That's what the blast is. I like that. I like that. I'm not even going to finish my thought. That was great. We're going to go
Thank
with that.
God.
All right. So many celebrities, you had to get one more jab in there. Many celebrities took a low-key approach to ringing in 2021. Kate Hudson could barely stay awake. She posted this pic with her son writing, "Most likely won't be making it to midnight this year," and feeling good about it. That happens. That happens when you get a little bit older. Not saying she's old, I'm talking about myself. I just dug myself a hole. All right, John Legend spent the night playing games with his friends while his wife Chrissy Teigen peeled potatoes. She's sober now. We're going to talk about that later. And Jeff Bridges posing matching PJs and a beret with his wife and pup.
The beret looks good.
Beret. Maybe we should look at the picture. Khloe Kardashian rang in the new year with her daughter True and wished for positive vibes for 2021. But her sisters Kendall and Kylie, now they're young, rang in the new year in style. They headed to Aspen with their mom Chris and spent the New Year's on the slopes. Kylie also posted pics of her vacation home. Check this out. That features a bowling alley, theater, and swimming pool. It reportedly costs $450,000 a month to rent, or just $25,000 a day. That's it.
$25,000 a day.
Wow.
Now, I was
Do you feel
actually,
ashamed?
Yeah.
I was very inspired by Stormy. I had just reached out to my brother and sister-in-law, my niece Evelyn's too, and I was wondering if she was old enough to start snowboarding because they're going to be here like in a month or so.
Erica's a snowboarder.
So I wanted to get her on a board because I see these little ones.
They're so good.
And they're so tiny and they're fearless. And I'm like, I would love to be able to do that with her. So I'm really, Stormy is what? Is she 2 or 3?
I think I don't know,
She
but
looks older than that.
She looks so good
Maybe
on that,
3 or 4.
Yeah, she looks like she was born on that board.
We'll get a
doesn't she?
confirmation. Well, I mean, dude, she went down like 10 feet. Let's relax.
Okay.
That's a lot. Have you been on a board?
It's really hard to stand up on a board.
I think I could do it.
She's 2. Evelyn May, I am taking you snowboarding next month. We are going to get your 10 feet, and it's going to be impressive regardless of what Jeff says.
So Stormy turns 3 on February 1st. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that was very.
I'm just jealous because I can't do it. I played sports my whole life through college, football, and I never got a major injury. And if I got a major injury snowing or skiing or snowboarding, I would be so mad at myself.
Yeah, but you can't think of it like that.
But I do. It's already in my head.
Well, then you shouldn't go
See?
because there's also this, a no-no that says you never announce that you're going on your last run.
Oh, God.
And you don't do that because it's jinxing your last run. I started snowboarding when I was 28, and it was very difficult. It took me, it took me about 12 trips to actually get it down. It's just a different way of like maneuvering your body. But once you get it down, then you know what your limitations are. And unless you like go and decide to, ride the trees or do all these other crazy things, I'll be very careful because there's someone in this room who might have gotten an injury.
What?
We are just really grateful that he is all nice and healthy now and praying for every trip he takes. But yes, just know your limits.
And there's 2
Somebody
men in
trying
the
to
room,
be
and
a
one of them's
daredevil.
me, and one of them's our camera guy, Rob.
Rob, we love you. We're glad you're
Major
safe.
injury. Yeah, he's all better now. He's actually
Yes.
back on the slopes.
I know.
So he conquered that devil.
Every time he tells me, I say a little prayer.
See, I want to talk like that. Though.
What?
I want to be like, my friends are all like, you live in Colorado now? Why don't you go skiing or snowboarding? I'd be like, yeah, I rode the trees.
See, you,
Like,
I know, when she said that, I thought of you also. Yeah, you hit the slopes, I hit the slopes. Yeah, I want to be able to say that.
But see, now I'm older and wiser. I'm like, Erica, I'll meet you at the cool log cabin
I'm in the
with fire,
lodge. I'm in the
I'm going
lodge.
to take
This
the
is-
inflatable tube down.
No, this is what you do. This is how you get away with it. Now you have your 2 boys. You can just go on the magic carpet with them.
And then
you don't even
start
have to
slow.
pay for a ticket for the gondola. And then you're like, you're helping them, but you're really also getting comfortable yourself. And you're not going to wipe out on the magic carpet. Come on.
And
that.
you're on the slopes.
Cutting through the trees on the magic carpet ride. All right. Blake Shelton started off the new year in hot water, let's just say. The country singer is facing backlash over his new song, Minimum Wage, which he sang for the first time on New Year's Eve. Let's have a look before Tori gets all in them.
Girl, your love is money. Your
how dare he? Some people took to Twitter to blast Blake. One user wrote, does anyone else find Blake Shelton's minimum wage song to be incredibly tone deaf to our country's current state? And another wrote, Blake Shelton singing, your love could make a man feel rich on minimum wage, just cements the fact that rich people have absolutely no bleeping clue. All right, Tori, you're in position over there with your arms crossed.
Yeah, I did think this was really, really tone deaf at a time in which people are really, really struggling. And the way he introduced the song as well when he was in New Year's was like, I don't know about you, but I have had a good 2020. And like, that's not true for many, many people in the United States. To then say that you feel as rich to be as rich on minimum wage, A, means you don't really know what minimum wage is or what it means to people, because we haven't risen it in inflation in years. It's still $7.25. And B, the fact that we all know you're a bazillionaire with Gwen Stefani made the whole thing such a departure for where country song comes from, which is the truth and a good story and a good follow line. This was just, I'm rich, and I don't have any concept of how much a gallon of milk costs. That's what it felt like to me.
Well, see, some people feel like, you know, country does come from the voice of the everyday man. So when you talk about dirt roads, or you talk about cheap beer,
the trucks, the Chevy trucks,
some of the tweets that I was reading that was really in his favor. I think it's very interesting that we pick and choose who we will accept certain things from and who we won't. It says a lot about the climate of the country. People are thinking very practically, when generally when you're listening to music, you're trying to find something that resonates with you. But what people are essentially saying is like, you can't really talk the talk because you don't walk the walk, which I can respect. At the end of the day, it is a song. If it resonates with people, it does. If it doesn't, then you really take out your voice by not streaming it.
And maybe if he had done something where he discusses that, and then maybe has a petition of how to raise the minimum wage, of something where there's like a concept that a lot of people are struggling. He didn't seem to address
a petition. Listen, that's crazy. This is just another example of how opposite planets we are. I heard this song and I heard, hey, it doesn't matter how much money I make or you make, our love is going to get us through this. That's exactly what I heard. I didn't hear, I'm going to start a petition for minimum wage support. That's insane to me. That's insane. I heard, we're going to love each other because we have no money, and that's what.
But who was singing that song? A bazillionaire. So how does that resonate?
But he wasn't always a bazillionaire. He had to come from somewhere. But Jay-Z sings from Marcy to Madison Square. He came from somewhere. He shows, I think that's inspirational to show his upcoming to where he was.
I think it shows his incompetence of how little people are getting paid in minimum wage, because you're never going to feel rich with minimum wage. And I think that lyric is really weird.
That's crazy.
Well, I do understand both sides, but I wonder, who are we expecting as, you know, as artists to speak for the everyday person if we are also like kind of glorifying these artists who don't live everyday lives anymore.
Right.
I mean, our co-host Al Jackson will talk about it all the time in terms of comedy specials. Like, your first comedy special is always so with the people, and then the next one's like, nobody wants to hear about the pilot on your private jet. Like, now you've become unrelatable to some extent. So we have to decide, like, can these people still relate, or are we just going to cast them off into bazillionaire land?
And I think that comes with timing, right? Like, particularly right now in the new year, with people just like needing bread on their table and not having unemployment and the stimulus checks not coming. This was a bad timing for me. It was a bad optics, and it was just a bad lyric.
Well, and that's okay. A lot of, I'm thinking the majority, I shouldn't even say that. I'm just sick of people being offended by so many things.
I hear you.
You see it that way, and you want to start a petition, and you're going all there government-wise. I see this as like, listen, no matter, I lived in a one-bedroom, 700 square foot apartment with my wife, and our son was born there. I'm so proud of that place. I love that little apartment in LA. And to see what I've built that into and what we've become, I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that every day. And that's what I see through this song. If we never got to where I'm at now, we'd still love each other. Our love would still be strong on minimum wage. That's what I see.
And I wish he had said, it doesn't matter how much we have, I feel rich in your arms. The idea to use minimum wage puts me in government mode. It's a political term. It's what people are dealing with. And it's a trigger for a lot of people. So I think had he said, I feel rich even if I'm poor, that's a totally different thing. But using minimum wage, it triggered people.
Well, triggered by the triggered. I'm triggered too.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Good one.
Said it.
Good one.
Coming up by DBL, a top paranormal investigator pulls back the curtain on spooky sightings and ghosts. and tells me all about his freaky new show. I love saying ghosts.
Favorite
And
word.
Chrissy Teigen says she's given up alcohol, so we've got tips on cutting back on the booze in the new year. After that segment, I think I need one.
Give me some.
Welcome back to DBL. Chrissy Teigen recently announced she quit drinking, but now we're learning what inspired her to make that decision. She told her fans on Instagram, the book Quit Like a Woman, which is all about making the choice to not drink any culture obsessed with alcohol, was the driving force behind that whole decision. Chrissy also said she was tired of embarrassing herself in front of people and was having trouble sleeping. I want to touch on that later. But now that the holidays are over, a lot of people are considering doing dry January, but many don't want to cut out all booze. So there's one doctor who says take a mini break instead. So according to the Japanese Guide to Healthy Drinking, refrain from drinking alcohol at least 2 days a week. All right. We'll touch on that also. Also, eat vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, and asparagus. They line your stomach and slow the absorption of alcohol. And if you do drink, try sake. Studies show that fermented rice wine has antioxidant properties. Finally, remember that booze dehydrates you, so replenish those electrolytes. So I'm not sure I agree with all those. First of all, it's propaganda. Drink sake, Japanese. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there.
It's a marketing scheme.
It is. But what do you think about Chrissy Teigen going dry? I'm doing dry January. I'm doing dry January quickly. My wife, she just wants to get in better shape for the new year, so I said, I'm just going to jump on board with you. I hate cliches. This is a cliche. I'm not on board with cliches, but I'm on board with, trying to make a healthier lifestyle for 2021.
Yeah, and I know that people do it for a lot of different reasons. I commend her for always being so transparent, regardless of, how people may react to it. She did make a pledge that basically she's going to stop explaining herself this year, but I am glad that she's at least speaking on this because a lot of people can relate to that. I know that I have definitely stopped drinking or stopped contributing to habits that made me embarrass myself and do things I wouldn't normally do had I been in a sound state of mind. And I think that we all get to a point in our lives where we're like, is this who we want to be? But for as far as me, for dry anything, I tend not to do that because anytime I take something out, regardless of what it is, I become fixated on it. And I've learned this from my fitness competition days that I didn't have a problem with cake. It's just that when I told myself I couldn't have any, that's all I wanted, and I couldn't stop until I got sick. So I just know that about myself, and that's why I don't do that.
Good for you. Like Teigen specifically said something similar to you. She said, I would have a glass of champagne getting my makeup done for an award show. Then it would turn into 2. Then she'd get to the award show. Then she'd drink behind the scenes. Then she was plastered. And she said she did a lot of embarrassing things. I've done a lot of embarrassing things. I've slowed down a lot. And I think it's the cool new thing to be sober, to be super honest in Hollywood.
Yeah, there's definitely not a stigma around like, I'm sober, so what happened? What's wrong? It's more like, listen, man, I'm just trying to be a better me. You know what I mean? That's all. I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
Don't forget the asparagus and broccoli.
Oh, never.
Don't forget that tip.
Nice and
I love
gassy.
asparagus.
Cabbage and broccoli and wine.
All right. Coming up on DBL, ghosts and haunted houses. Are they real or make-believe? I chat with a top paranormal investigator to talk about the infamous Amityville Horror House. All about ghosts.
Say it again.
Ghosts. Welcome back to DBL. We've all heard of paranormal activity, but so few have actually experienced it. So what's real or what's in our head? Earlier, I caught up with top paranormal investigator Jason Hawes to talk about the phenomenon and get an inside look at a brand new docuseries, the Amityville Horror House. Take a look.
The demonic force at 112 Ocean Avenue has taken physical form.
Yes, sir.
It's now clear the children are its main target.
We're joined by paranormal investigator and TV host Jason Hawes. Now, Jason, thank you for coming on DBL. Let's get right to it because the true crime genre has become so popular lately, but you take it to a whole new level with this new documentary series. So, Amityville Horror House is based on a true story of a family who moved into their dream home and claimed it was haunted. What was the most terrifying thing the Lutz family went through in your eyes?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different claims. I think anytime you have children involved in in a place that has paranormal activity, all of it's traumatizing because you're always in fear for their safety. But we need to remember that November 13th, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. Killed 6 members of his family late at night. Then 1 year later, December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, with their 3 children, bought and moved into the home at 112 Ocean Avenue. They've always claimed that there was just activity that they were truly terrified to be anywhere alone in that home.
Now, is there anything to be fearful of? You said you were worried about their safety. In your eyes, is there anything like you should be worried about paranormal activity in any sense?
Well, I think it depends on the type of haunting. There's different types of hauntings. And now when I go in and investigate, I believe over 80% of all claims can be disproved. So we're going in from a scientific aspect. But when there's things that are truly happening, you could have something frighten you. You fall down the stairs. You could have something that possibly could be looking to cause you some sort of bodily harm. Also, psychologically, you need to concern yourself. When it comes down to children are more prone to see things than adults, because to a child, anything's possible. We got to remember, a big bunny brings them a basket, a big fat guy comes down a chimney. And it's not until we start telling them that their invisible friend Bobby or Timmy isn't real that we start closing them off and conditioning them to our belief system. So children are more prone to see spirits and paranormal activity than adults are, because the world's wide open to them. So we need to take into consideration just psychologically for their protection as well.
I'm with you there, but there's a lot of skeptics out there who might not believe in paranormal activity. So convince everyone out there what's real in your mind and what's in our heads.
Well, not to believe in paranormal activity is just silly, because para just means beyond. So it's the Greek word for beyond. So beyond the normal of what we're used to. Honestly, I've always been the type of person where I go in, I investigate, and I put it out there and let the world draw their own conclusion on it. And that's very much what we're doing with the Amityville Horror House show on Discovery Plus, where we give you the information, we interview a bunch of individuals, and you can draw your own conclusion. As well as, Discovery Plus, January 4th, they've got 3,000 plus hours of paranormal content. So you can go in, you can draw your own conclusions on, depending on the show, and see which ones you like and which ones you don't.
I appreciate it so much. Quick answer to this one, Jason. When I shut off all the lights in my basement, I'm going upstairs and I got that creepy feeling. Is that paranormal activity, or is that just in my head?
That's in your head.
That's all I wanted to hear, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us again, Jason. You can watch the brand new Amity Horror House and paranormal content on the brand new Discovery Plus streaming app. Again, Jason, thank you so much. We'll be right back, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day, man.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The bladder.
Welcome back to DBL. We only have like 40 seconds left. But anything you guys have to look forward to 21? Any goals? Anything you want to manifest, Tori?
I want to manifest not always approaching a problem with anxiety. Sometimes I can approach it with the same energy and be excited. And I think I have to just train my brain to do that.
All right. I like that one. Erica.
I got real serious.
That's a good one. I am going to call in positive energy to my life,
Yes.
even when negative energy presents itself.
We could all take that one. Me, I'm gonna focus more on what I can control as opposed to what I can't.
That's a good.
Yeah, that's
Look
all.
at us.
Look at us.
High fives.
We'll see you tomorrow
Just
for Tony
me.
Robbins and his gang.